Okay. Seeing what you see. So currently we've made a new high. And I'm waiting for us to come back to this level to see if it's potentially going to act as resistance. So I'm waiting for us to come down here and see some sort of rejection, reversal almost, and then I'll buy that. Otherwise, we'll just see what happens. We are in a downward trend, but look, this is just popping off, mate. So then, yeah. What happened yesterday? Just shot away. But that's trading. I'm not going to chase it. Okay, so this isn't valid anymore. You can go back down to the 1. Let's wait and see if something becomes bloody obvious while I listen to my boy Quinten.
It's like the whole thing. So he comes on, and Paul Rodriguez comes on, who I'd seen and stuff, and then like a few other guys come on, and then it gets to be towards the end of the show. And then you hear in the audience, "Bring on the beast! Bring on the beast!" Okay, everybody, here we go. Last person of the night. Right. You love him. You can't live without him. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Kinison. And I never heard of Sam Kinison before. And he walked up there, last guy on the lineup. And I've never laughed harder in my life as I laughed at Sam Kinison doing his routine at the close of the comedy show. It was, I mean, like I spilled drinks. It was like I lost control of myself, and it was so great. I came back the next night to see if the Sam Kinison thing was just like did it even happen?
Right.
Did it even happen? And then yeah, there it was. It happened. That's the guy, and I laughed just as much at the shit a second time. I was like, my God, like. I wanted to follow this guy like a religious leader. I thought it was the most eye-opening stuff I had ever seen. And I was coming from a similar place. Women had treated me like shit. It's like, fuck yeah, man. This guy's right. And I was just 2 steps away from being an incel. All right. So it was like Sam Kinison was he was speaking the word, man.
I found about Kinison from a girl that I worked with at a health club. I worked at this place called the Boston Athletic Club. It was a gym in South Boston. I was teaching people how to lift weights, and there was this girl who was, I think she played volleyball or something. She was this big, like, bold personality. She was hilarious. She was a really funny girl. And she was telling me, she knew I liked comedy, and I never even thought about doing comedy back then. This was 1986.
You should probably give it a go at some point, mate.
And she tells me about this HBO special that she saw.
Oh, yeah.
This guy, Sam Kinison. And then we're out in the parking lot of
and she starts doing the routine. Yeah.
She starts doing the routine of him paying money to, like, he had a routine about homosexual necrophiliacs paying money to the mortuaries to spend time with the freshest male corpses. Yeah. So here's this girl.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah. This girl's lying on her stomach in the parking lot going, "Oh, you mean life keeps fucking in the ass even after you're dead? It never ends. It never ends. Oh, wow." Yeah. So she's doing the impression of, I'm howling at her impression of it. Right. And then I got to a video store and I got a copy of the VHS.
Okay, well, dude, I was into him a year and a half before that. All right, yeah, that you're talking. He's already like mainstream. He's already done his HBO special by then. This is like no one's giving him shit other than Mitzi.
Yeah, you were there at the ground floor.
A year and a fucking half before he did edit any TV.
Do you know the origin story, Sam Kinison?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. No, I'm pretty familiar.
He's a normal guy, and he got hit by a car when he was a kid, and got brain damage.
And but he was like the weird, like Marjo Gorner. He was like the weird evangelist kid.
Yeah, but his brother wrote about it in Brother Sam. His brother Bill wrote a book about it. He was like a totally normal kid, gets hit by a car, and then he's just this wild, unstoppable.
Well, that I didn't know. Okay, that I didn't know.
Well, there's quite a few people like that. Roseanne Barr is another one, hit by a car when she was 15. She spent 9 months afterwards in a mental institution. She couldn't count anymore. She used to be excellent at math. She got hit by a car, spent 9 months in a mental institution, couldn't count anymore.
No,
her brain was completely fucked.
No, I had a friend got hit by a car, and then when she came to, she couldn't speak English. She could only speak Spanish.
Whoa. Could you speak Spanish before that?
Yeah, I think she had like just high school Spanish. But then all of a sudden, like for I think 4 days or so, she could only access the Spanish part of her brain.
Wow. Well, something happens to people when they get brain injuries where they get really impulsive and wild, and they're reckless, and that's what became with Kinison.
Yeah.
He became this wild, reckless, like maniac, and it literally came out of a brain injury. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible. You don't want anybody to have a brain injury, but on the other hand, that's the only way to create a Kinison.
That's the only way yeah, exactly. That's the only, that's where the lab experiment starts.
It's hard for people to understand how revolutionary that guy was, because when I was a kid, he was the first guy that ever made me think about comedy, like that I could do comedy. Because I always thought comedy was those guys you saw on the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Where they,
Well, it's like the first real official thing he did outside of the Comedy Store was he did one of those like comedy tapes that Rodney Dangerfield hosted.
Yeah.
So it was like him and Roseanne Barr, and then like a couple of other Bob Nelson.
Yeah.
Doing his boxer dude.
Yeah.
And then so like, oh my God, this is the dude. This is the dude. This is before he got.
Would I be proud to take this? Yep. No. 8133. Right. Yeah, I'm not gonna fuck around with this now.
This is
Yeah.
before he gets his own special.
Yeah.
Which just says Rodney special.
Yeah, no, I remember that very well. But his
So we had all those
style.
tapes, man. I watched all that stuff. I remember you used to, on Comedy Central, you would do the your little non sequiturs.
Jesus Christ, you remember
Yeah,
those?
when you had hair and you did the little non sequiturs talking about, yeah, okay, you pretend I'm sitting in front of a brick wall.
Yeah.
I'm talking about LA and New York.
Yeah, that's like 93 or 92
Yeah.
or something like that. That's crazy.
No, I was just like, I did Mark Maron show. Hey, I remember you. Short attention span theater, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Penn Juliet doing
It's all
all the.
good. It's all good. It's good practice. I'm holding for one. We're in an uptrend. I mean, there's some good signals there. We're over. It's not a big deal if it doesn't work out. It'll just take me one trade and I'll be back where I was. It's interesting. We're in an uptrend. We're making higher highs. It's a fight. The trade is absolutely fine. Just leave it alone. Let it do its thing. If it fails, not a problem. I'll just patiently wait for another entry, or wait until tomorrow. If the good entries aren't today, they will be tomorrow.
All the promo voices.
Mm-hmm. Ben Gillette, yeah. Well,
Ben Gillette.
Yeah.
Juliet.
God, it's amazing that you were at the store in '82. Was Pryor there at all?
No, he would make personal. He would make. It was always a big deal. Him and Robin Williams would just show up every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was like boring Paul Muni, doing his fucking 45-minute act and blowing down everybody else, right, who wanted to come on. And Tom Brogan, all right, the guy who he had a show, and I think he was one of the producers on the Tonight Show at a certain point.
Jimmy Brogan.
Jimmy Brogan, yeah.
That's right.
Jimmy Brogan would come on. Jeff Altman.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, would come on doing their bit. Carrie Snow. It was the time of Carrie Snow, which I was wondering whatever happened to her. I thought she was really funny.
She was really funny. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her. Yeah, that's an amazing time. You that was probably literally the heyday of the Comedy Store where you were there.
Yeah. Well, it was definitely the new generation was coming coming around, and I talked with Jim Carrey once, and he was like, "No," he goes, "No, that was the time when I knew I could kill with impressions, but I knew I had to get away from impressions."
Mm.
And like Sam Kinison was my best friend, and he was like the one teaching me, telling me I gotta stop doing impressions. And Mitzi would go, "What are you talking about? You're the king of impressions." And I thought, well, okay, so I'm the king of impressions. So what? The best I can hope for is Rich Little.
Mm.
I want more than that. And but that means going up on the Comedy Store and bombing, knowing that if I just did one impression, I'd win the audience completely over. And so, like, when you know you have killer material in your pocket and you refuse to use it, and you refuse, but you're gonna, painfully recreate yourself.
She had a few guys like that were guitar acts.
Oh,
they would only sing songs on stage, and then she eventually was telling them, "Hey, put the fucking guitar down.
Mm-hmm.
Just go up there and do stand up. You can do stand up."
Right.
And a lot of them just went into a funk and didn't know how to handle it, because here you got Mitzi Shore telling you to put the fucking guitar down.
Hmm. Definitely looks like a rounded top, doesn't it? Hmm. Unlucky, mate. Not gonna fucking flip out and lose my shit. Nope. Just.
Down. But you know that the guitar is your like safety blanket.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Never worked out. I don't know anybody who ever put the guitar down and
then just killed it. Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they did it, but
you see, okay, and that's that time. If you look at the comedy, okay, say 6 years before that, you know, like Gary Shamron time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Brian Regan time. And everything. And then it was like everybody was like getting on "Make Me Laugh."
Right. Well, Brian Regan was way later.
Yeah.
But it was a style.
No, Brian Regan is the time we're talking about.
Yeah.
No. I mean the time we're talking about in 80s, right?
Well, Brian Regan really made it after the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But he'd been around. I'm sure I'd seen him on Caroline's Comedy Hour, like in '88.
Yeah, for sure. But he really kind of made it. Brian Regan kind of made it.
I didn't know he actually ever really made it. I always liked the guy.
Well, he's made it as a big act. Mm-hmm.
"15 minutes till news." Still, this is a bloody good spot. I'm liking this. If we get reversal around here, I'm so in. 08092. This is
act as a stand-up comedy act,
Mm-hmm.
but like never really made it in television and films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he sells out like Red Rocks and Denver all the time. He sells out giant theaters. Yeah, he does really well. Like, but he's one of those guys like Sebastian Maniscalco, who sells out these like giant ass places, and then you find out about it, and you're like, what? Like Sebastian sells out Madison Square Garden like multiple shows in a row.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, again, talking about Dice, he was the first comedian to do that.
Yes, he was the first.
I mean, him in that day selling out Madison Square Garden 3 times in a row. I mean, like for a 3-night engagement, that was
unheard of. Yeah, nobody did that. He sold out Nassau Coliseum, giant arenas,
and then like he did one of the greatest comedy albums of all time. The
Day the Laughter Died.
The Day the Laughter, one of the greatest comedy albums of all time.
So glad you like that.
At the height of his controversy, he does a 2-album set with a hostile fucking audience
and bombs
with people leaving like, you're a fucking asshole.
Yeah,
get out of here, you fucking bitch.
This guy got it.
no fucking way. It's absolutely fine. Honestly, mate. Just bear with it. Bear fucking with it. The trade is fine. The trade is fine. The trade is good. Trade is fucking good, mate. It's just really unlucky if it doesn't pay off. It's unlucky. You're not actually in it for fucking millions. Relax. No. Unlucky, man. I think we've got fucking news coming up now. Don't you fucking dare. I'm not doing anything fucking 10 minutes before the news. Oh, you really gonna fucking go, are you? No, no. Got to stop all this doubling down nonsense.
I got up, I'll never forget. He goes, "You're about as funny as a glass of milk." Like, that's what he said to him. And Dice is
I mean, that
laughing.
is just the greatest comedy album ever. At the height of his fame.
And I'm pretty sure Rick Rubin produced it.
Yeah, I think he did.
And so these two wild motherfuckers said, "Go ahead, release it, release it."
Yeah.
Well, Dice has always been this guy that's taken crazy chances like that. Like, very few people would have the confidence or have the understanding of who they are to do that.
Yeah.
And to know that that is, like, a lot of people are not going to like it. There's probably a lot of people bought those CDs and were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Right.
Because he shows up unannounced
Yeah.
at Dangerfield's nightclub in New York City. There's fucking no one in the audience because no one knows he's going to be there. And he's doing this complete unprepared set.
Mhm.
He has no material. He's just fucking around. And sometimes
And he's got a John
pretends he has
Travolta. He's got a John Travolta impersonation,
Yes.
waiting for the end. Like I know I can do the staying alive thing, and that'll wrap up the audience.
Well, that was his thing, you know. He used to be Andrew Silverstein,
Yeah.
and he had all these impressions he would do. He would do Travolta, he would do Stallone, and then at the end he would do this Dice Man character. And the Dice Man character was so good, he abandoned all the other shit and just kind of became the Dice Man. That would have been wild, though, to be there at that time.
No, to walk into the place and he's on stage.
Yeah.
Full black leather jacket, you know, doing the whole cigarette bit.
Wow.
Doing his "I Dream of Jeannie" jokes.
Yeah. I dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, never. It was like, okay, master, what wish can I grant you? Okay, make your tongue 10 feet long and stick it up my ass.
That era of Hollywood, like, to be there at that time, it was a tumultuous time too. It was like so much wild shit was happening, and for you to be a young guy to be in that scene and see it all go down, like, just like be a young guy back then. How much of that affected the way you viewed things, the way you viewed your work, and the things that you made?
Well, I don't know if it had any, like, you know, it was just exciting. It was the 90s were fun. Okay, you know, the 90s look like the 70s part too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I thought about that then,
Right.
but I think about that now, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, and I was like, I was still pretty young. I was like in my beginning 30s, my 20s, because I was so broke, like working minimum wage jobs. I didn't like have as much fun in my 20s as I could have had. Well, I made up for it in my 30s.
Mm-hmm. When you brought back John Travolta, that was a big deal too, because you had this enormous movie, and that was like one of the first times I can recall. Correct me if I'm wrong, where a guy falls out like he's not a big star anymore. It's gone. It's over. And then you put him in a massive movie, and he's really fucking good.
Yeah.
He's really fucking good. It's interesting. It's weird. He's a heroin addict who's an assassin who also can dance, and him and Uma Thurman on the dance floor. You changed his whole life.
Yeah. No, it happened that way. Yeah.
Was there resistance to try to put him in that movie?
Oh, of course. I mean, you know, the only thing he had done that had made any noise in a long time was, you know, those Look Who's Talking movies.
Yeah.
And again, there's this thing that's floating around, and like, you know, my initial cast list for Pulp Fiction is kind of floating around on the internet. Somebody got a hold of it and handed it out, and you know, it's true, but there's a story behind it. It's not just a normal cast list. The idea, I remember my agent telling me, okay, so you're getting a deal. So one of the things that you do when you get a deal at the time is with TriStar. And it was like, you write down everybody you can think of who would be more or less, you think, right for the character. And you write down everybody. And if they sign off on it, well, then you can cast any of those people you want. So I thought of everybody who could ever even possibly play the roles. And I just wrote like a whole shitload of names. Not that I was even going to consider it. It was like, no, throw more names on there, and that's just, you know, once they sign off on it, this is this talent pool I have to choose from. So I just wrote down a whole shitload of names, people that I thought, you know, in the wildest stretch of imagination could be okay for the role if it all worked out. And then it came time to sign off on it, and then they were like, okay, well, we want you to take 2 names off the list, and we'll sign off on it. And I go, oh, well, who? And they go, we want you to take off William Peterson, and we want you to take off John Travolta. And I go, well, I'm not going to take off John Travolta. Now, this was actually before I even wanted John Travolta. I wrote the part of Vincent from Michael Madsen. It was his role. And I'd written Pumpkin and Honey Bunny for Tim Roth and Amanda Plummer, and I'd written The Wolf for Harvey Keitel, and I had written Vincent Vega for Michael Madsen. And then been writing the script for not quite years, but let's say 8 or 9 months. 2 weeks before I'm finished with it, Michael Madsen accepts the role in Wyatt Earp, the Kevin Costner, Lawrence Kasdan. And so he's not available. And at the time, I was thinking maybe a John Travolta more for the Eric Stoltz part. Not that I would have dressed him like Eric Stoltz, but he was that guy. And so then I get together with John, and we have lunch, and he's a really great guy. And I start thinking, well, he could be a real legitimate replacement for Michael Madsen as Vincent. I can see him being a really, really good Vincent. And so I say I want to cast him. And now it's not TriStar anymore. Now it's Miramax. And Harvey Keitel, John Travolta, that's straight to video movies, you know, and that talking baby shit, you know. You can have anybody you want. I mean, like, you could get Sean Penn if you wanted. Now, he's a great actor. You could get at the time, and he wasn't at the time. He was like Daniel Day-Lewis could do this, and you know, he didn't do anything, but he would do this. And it's one thing to actually push some guy who's not hot, but it's another thing to, like, a guy's hot and wants to do it, and then you're pushing him aside. You know, push another dude. And I just literally just said it. I go, well, look, Here's the thing that I had in my side while the rest of the industry was telling me I was crazy. Because one of my favorite writers has always been Pauline Kael. And Pauline Kael was always a huge John Travolta fan. Even when she didn't like the movie, she liked it. And they had a piece in the Los Angeles Times maybe 5 years earlier about what the fuck happened to John Travolta. And they interview her. And at the end, they go, well, can John Travolta come back? And then she said, well, he needs to come back. Movies need him. And so I just, knowing that I had Pauline Kael on my side, I could literally face down any Hollywood talk about it. That was like my Siegfried sword. All right. And they were all dragons, and I had the word of Pauline Kael in my back pocket. She backed me up. And so I said, well, look, Hardy Weinstein, look, Hardy, you need to watch John Travolta in Brian De Palma's Blood. And if you don't think that's a great, Pauline Kael in my back pocket, she backed me up. And so I said, well, look, Hardy Weinstein, look, Hardy, you need to watch John Travolta in Brian De Palma's Blood. And if you don't think that's a great performance, then maybe we shouldn't be making this movie.
Fucking hell, lady.
And so I said, well, look, Hardy Weinstein, look, Hardy, you need to watch John Travolta in Brian De Palma's Blow.
Yeah, no, I got out of that. Just saying, if it goes the other way, got quite a strong.
And if you don't think that's a great performance, then maybe we shouldn't be making this movie together, and I should make it with somebody else.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, it was okay to have Travolta.
Was there another silent moment?
Yeah,
Just remember, Miramax said it's okay to use John Travolta.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, goddamn, you were right though. I mean, because there was something about seeing him in the movie, like, wow, fucking John Travolta. Because it, like I said, the movie was so odd and so special that it was an added element of having this guy that was supposed to be done.
Mm.
Done. And now all of a sudden he's back, and not only is he back, he's fucking sensational.
Yeah, and there was this weird kind of thing. I don't think that kind of comeback had happened in a bit. And
Had it ever happened?
well, I'm sure there. Oh yeah, like a case to be made. It happened with Frank Sinatra with From Here to Eternity, and like a couple of other things, or like a character actor comes back. He's been doing crappy stuff, but then he has like a nice role, like Martin Landau and Tucker. Now he's doing stuff again,
right?
Where he had been doing exploitation movies before, but not like the guy becomes a big star again.
Yeah,
and but there was this thing, I remember Manola Dargis even writing about it at the time, and she goes, has a comeback ever been this much fun? It was sort of like, I think, we always used to like John Travolta.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of let it die on the vine, and now we're seeing it. And yes, we were right to like him before. He's really charming in this. He's really interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't about
you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yes, it was a perception issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like you perceived him as being in a category of actors that had been relegated to, like you said, off these videos.
Well, there was an interesting thing because remember we screened Pulp Fiction at this festival in Italy, the Taormina Film Festival, and the people who were on so it was my movie, and I was part of the jury, and so the whole jury kind of watch my movie and have this big amphitheater that like was made 1,000 years ago. So it's all being projected outside, and we're all sitting on these stone steps, bleachers. And so it's like Adam Agoyan, the Canadian filmmaker, and John Waters and Pedro Almodovar. They're all there, and they're all watching my movie for the first time. And then like the Jackrabbit Slim scene starts happening, and then all of a sudden, they say yes, they're going to join the twist contest, and they walk up on the stage, and then all of a sudden John Travolta starts taking off his shoes, and then they're all like, "Oh my God, he's going to dance! Holy shit, John Travolta's going to fucking dance in the movie!" And then he dances. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever!
Stop it now. Go away. Where are you? Good work. Did all right. Better.